they found out that I loved it. I tried any extracurricular activity from track to gymnastics. So they weren't like, we're musicians, you need to start doing music. But they did allow me to have that as one of the things I tried. And when I tried it, I loved it and I stuck with it.
Okay, great, great. You know, I think there's an old Hawaiian proverb where like they just throw instruments around, but they don't push, you know. So that's kind of what else. You were just exposed and you found your own passion.
Exactly.
You play a lot of instruments. Obviously, you're an amazing bass player. Why bass? What drew you to the bass?
So the story would go like this. It started with my desire to play piano. My sister played piano, took lessons with Douglas Gaston, who's one of the phenomenal jazz musicians here in Buffalo. It's her godfather. So she took lessons. My mother plays piano. I was the little sister. I was like, I want to play piano too. And being that my mother's a full-time teacher and she was totally busy with her, you know, before work, and I'm just a kid at home. And I was like, well, Dad, being a stay-home musician, I was like, Dad, what do you have? What can you show me? And he had guitar, so he had started me on a guitar. And I ran with it for a while, trying French horn and violin at that same exact time. And I tried those things, and then one time I had a summer camp, and they needed a bassist, and there was no one but me on guitar. And they're like, well, you can probably figure it out. And I said, okay, I'll give it a go. And I was like, this feels way better. And I just loved everything about it. I don't like the chords on guitars. It hurts my fingers. Somehow bass doesn't hurt my fingers as much, and it just seems to be what my hands preferred.
Who are some of your influences or mentors here in town for bass playing?
One, my father, Zuri Appleby, who's had the opportunity to play for Chuck Berry, Deep Purple, Rick James. He's got to play.
Storied career, by the way.
Yeah, his career is, hopefully, I'm going to catch up to how extensive his is. But so, yeah, he was a huge mentor because he just valued the art of music, you know, and the art of entertainment and the art of really taking your craft seriously while still having fun. And a lot of people, I don't see that in, you know, past or future or present. So he was a huge mentor. Jerry Livingston.
Oh, he's great.
He's literally one of the most, I say he's the most humble man like in the entire world without even exaggerating. He's absolutely a monster. Also got to play for Rick James. Also has an extensive career history and just always is just so humble and just so supportive. And that's also a beautiful thing because one thing to get it from my dad, but it's a different thing to get it from just another male that's out and extremely successful in the community that's still, you know, giving me some type of kudos for what I'm doing and giving me respect and actually thinking I'm good. So he's another mentor. Who else? Rashawn Northington definitely helped to break me into the music scene in the gospel scene and in churches. I came up in a Catholic church and we sang in the choir and we did gospel music singing, but to play to something totally different. And those gospel musicians are absolutely amazing 9 times out of 10. They just are ridiculous. So that was very intimidating. Also something that you wouldn't just walk into. Someone would definitely have to say, okay, they're okay to do it, and give them a chance. And he allowed me that chance and helped me to progress from there to be able to play in other churches, which just helped snowball to do other gigs, because a lot of people that are gigging are from the church originally, so him as well, and I think those are the main
That's great. Well, those are 3 amazing individuals. So tell us about going into the service. What led you to do that? Was it the opportunity of being in the Marine Corps band? You know, I always hear musicians say, well, I wanted to see the world, and this is an opportunity to do that. What was your thoughts on that?
I did want to see the world, but more or less than anything, I just knew that school wasn't something that I would get, I don't know, my feeling of satisfaction from, because I wasn't very good at it naturally. I'm definitely a right brain, not a left brain. I don't prefer to sit in a classroom and just try to memorize things. Like, I just need a story to help me connect things. So I was like, if I go to college, I'm going to cost so much money, and I don't want to put my parents in debt. I don't put myself in debt for something that I might not even have been satisfied doing. And I knew that I was good at extracurricular activities, being in track and cross country. I just always liked to be a strong girl. And when I found out that if I could, you know, make a certain average on my audition, then I could pick my duty station. I said, okay, well, I'm sold. So I managed to do that at 17. I got a staff's grading for my audition, which allowed me to choose my duty station, and I chose New Orleans. So I just went into it because I just didn't want to go to college.
Well, so that's good.
Want to go to college, and I wanted to just do something that I thought would challenge me, that would help me mature me in the way that college did, without, doing it in the way that wasn't conducive to how I learn and how I operate. That's
very self-reflective. That's great. So, I mean, you went there, you played bass, you were in the Marine Corps band. You still had to do basic training?
Yes, I was active duty Marine. We went through basic training. We went through for 3 months straight. We went in Paris Island, South Carolina. Went to North Carolina to do combat training for a month, living in the woods, acting as if you're like actually fighting and in war. We have gas chambers and rifle chambers and grenade launchers and all these types of things we got to do annually, and sometimes more than annually, and a lot of combat training. So all of that had to go before the music. And the music was like, once we got all that done, now we can practice later. So that's how that went.
That sounded like great training for the music industry.
Right. Well, their music, they do have a music school, which was great training for the music industry, because it forced you to not even be able to take off your camis for 6 months, nor leave base, and no matter how good you were, you had to practice at least 2 hours a day, every day for 6 months. And on top of basically doing ensembles, you're training music theory, so it's kind of like condensed college into 6 months.
Wow.
Except way more strict with that. You can't go out and party and then come back to school the next day. It was like, no, you're just sleeping right there. Wake up, go over there, go practice.
There's your base. There.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about your experience with Mutt Lange. So that was for, were you in the video? Did you play? What was your role with that artist that you worked with?
So Ashley Clark is a violinist, for those of you who don't know, as well as a vocalist, guitarist from the Clark family in Nashville, Tennessee. But he's an amazing violinist, and that was really his claim to fame. He was playing violin for Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood, I think, and Shania Twain, maybe. So artists like of that. And so I was reached out because they wanted to put together an all-girl band. Did the audition, they had me. So it was basically a promotional thing. We shot a huge video to kind of show what it would be like if we were having a show on stage, to show to other people that we wanted to open for, to kind of build that up. But that kind of like sizzled.
It sizzled. As you know, you throw a lot of things at the wall in the music industry, and hopefully certain ones stick. But that's interesting. So it was actually a promotion to go out on a tour and get opening slots.
Exactly.
Interesting. So talk about trying to call a promoter and do something, but actually putting together a whole package to try to do that. That's pretty intense. I know I'm trying to move along here because I know these people want to have questions here. Okay, let's talk about the Nick Jonas process. First of all, how did that come about? And then how crazy was it? Did they make you jump through a lot of hoops? And tell us about the process of that.
So the process was nothing but fate. I don't really much believe in coincidence. And I'm on tour with artists, local artist Dave Miller and the other singers, and we're on tour, and I'm checking my Twitter just casually, and I get a message, a DM, and I'm like, what's this? And I go to check my Twitter, and it's just a picture of like a sea of a crowd and a person that I don't follow, and they're like, check your email, maybe there's a gig you might have an interest in. So I'm like, okay, and I check my email, and that's the gig. They're like, we would love to have you on bass. We saw a couple of your videos, and we're currently getting ready to start a tour, and we would love to have you. Anyway, you can start possibly next week. And I'm just like, I'm not even going to be on tour until 2 weeks, and like, I have all these other things lined up. So then, so I obviously confirmed because it's my big break. And I further in conversation with them, they're like, okay, so the band sold, but what we need from you is a video so that we can show the management, because they look with their eyes. It's like, we know you can play. This is the band members talking. We know you can play, but we need the production people to be able to see, what we know you can do. I was like, okay. So, it gets all up. I took a little video on my computer. Within 24 hours of getting home. Like I got home at 3 a.m. from my tour and had to get the video done right away because they wanted it like yesterday, and I wasn't even home yet. I was like, I can't start it till I get home. So I get home, I record it, I spend, they give me the music, it's 3 songs, I'm learning it perfectly, note for note, so that I can just show off and have fun, and then I do it without too many fills, without too boring, and then I get a message back, oh, well, we need you to smile more and wear your hair down, and I was just like, okay.
So they really said that, so they wanted, that was just for consideration, huh? They actually do that, okay.
Yeah, they actually do that. And so I said, okay, so took my hair down, did it again. This is like at 3 a.m. at this point, after, 2-week on tour, just being on the whole all the time. And I send it in, and then they're like, okay, we love it, blah, blah, you're in. We're going to fly you out tomorrow. And they, flew me out. Maybe it was 24 hours, and they flew me out first class for just that one time. and went out there and immediately started rehearsals, and then had a show for the MTV Music Awards, like a pre-MTV Music Awards show with Demi Lovato, and I was like, "What's happening? This just happened Friday." That's how they found me. That's how it all developed.
Wow! So it was from videos.
Well, they Googled me.
Yeah.
They Googled me.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. So let's just because to just shed some light on the process. So they gave you some songs to practice for the video.
Right.
So, but when they flew you out there, then how much time did you ever rehearse? And what was that process like?
When I got out there, that was time to rehearse. So we rehearsed every day so I got there that Tuesday. I got there that Tuesday, and then we had a show that Friday, so we just rehearsed all day, and you just stay. We were at Center Staging, where amazing other artists are just rehearsing right around you. When I was at Center Staging with Ashley Clark, next door is Paramore, and then when I was in California, next door is Lil Wayne's band, and I'm just like, what? We're just rehearsing next door, and then you get to network those people. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well.
Wow. So what is it like? Are there strict lines where you cannot deviate when you're playing?
Yes.
It's like here's what they want, and you have to perform note for note.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So, as a musician, we like to have a little creative freedom. I think it might sound good to flare it up here, but with this, it's you're playing to the track as opposed to the track being something that's built to complement what's happening live. Well, at least in this instance, that was the case. And so you have to mimic what's already happening. If there's a sub bass part, I have to mimic the sub bass part, and there's no I have to get the tone just the same. I have to get the timing, the release, and the note just the same. I have to, have the same intensity as the song had the entire time, and maybe I might get a fill at that same spot in the song every time that part comes around, in one song or something like that. So they really don't allow much deviation from that. They want you to sound like the track.
What happens if you? Do they tell you, hey, you did something you shouldn't? Are the repercussions?
Well, there's been times when I might have tried to do fill at the part where I'm allowed to have a fill and didn't know if someone would be pissed about it. But as long as you're not going crazy, you're not gonna have an issue. But if you're just the entire time just making it your own, it's not cool. But this is Nick Jonas' experiences. Some bands are a lot more free, but I think when it's any major pop gig, they're gonna have you stick to the part and just learn how to be not be a machine, but to make what a machine would do sounds alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Did that include, besides playing, movement? You had staging too?
Yes, there was movement, which was out of my comfort zone because I'm a player. I'm not necessarily an entertainer, although the music can be entertaining, but not through my display of how I move. I'm not a Prince, rest in peace, type person where I'm on the floor and stuff. So they definitely want you to just, like you said originally, people listen with their eyes, and especially when you're playing with a track at the time, they might not know if you're playing really well, if it's you or if it's the track. So you know, you're not going to really get glory from that except for being able to hold it down very tightly. They want to see